I don't know about you, but I find like in the winter my energy levels just drop. So like I'm in the northern hemisphere. I'm at like 47 degrees north, so it's like, I'm at the halfway point up to the top. So a little bit more. So like the sun in the winter doesn't really stay up nearly as much as what it probably does near where most of you guys live. And I don't know, I just find like that in combination with the bad weather, the low temperatures, like the less sun, so it's less vitamin D, just like it really zaps my mood. As a kid, I didn't really notice it as much. But now that I'm getting older and stuff, I do notice those subtle differences, right? I wonder, is it the exact same thing in like the southern hemisphere? If you took my opposite position, if you were in like 47 degrees south, I wonder, like, is it the same situation, or is it like the local climate situation and the cloud cover that kind of brews the perfect storm for the, what is it, like it's called SAD, SAD, how ironic, right? Seasonal affective disorder or something? But it's a very prevalent thing. The best thing I've found for it is usually like to keep yourself distracted and to get out, right? You gotta like utilize those daylight hours, especially, right? As a kid, you sleep in a lot. When you're a teenager, you're up till like 2, 3 a.m. and you sleep until like, I don't know, I used to sleep until 1 p.m. sometimes. It was pretty bad. But as you get older, your body gets less efficient at producing like vitamin D from the amount of sun exposure that you're getting, right? So it's like, you gotta go utilize those hours, right? You gotta get your eyes exposed and your skin exposed to the sunlight, and you gotta go out, right? And it's also good to get that fresh air. That helps out a lot too. In terms of distracting yourself, like, it can't be purely just distraction. You do have to do some sort of growth work, right? Whether that's you like trying to commit to an exercise routine, choosing to learn like a language, picking up a new game, or trying something that's challenging, like all these things that challenge your brain a bit. That's kind of like the same effect as what going to school does, but on like a smaller scale. Outside of exercising and trying the vitamin D thing, like, you also just gotta move, right? Your body has to be in movement, so you gotta get inertia built up, because when you're sitting still and you get idle hands, it makes everything worse, right? That's just the way that we are as human beings. Another great thing that helps a lot is kind of like incorporating a socialization program where, not every day, but a couple times a week, a few times a week, you meet out with people, you go to different places and try new things. Maybe you go out to a restaurant, or you go visit a place, you go visit a friend in their place instead of going to yours. Just kind of shaking things up. This helps a lot. Going for drives help if you have a vehicle, if you live in a place that's kind of like more rural. Nature exposure helps too a lot, like being not in like a big public park where there's lots of people, right? Because like I know a lot of people will they live in like urban centers, and you got people like in Toronto or Chicago, and their idea of like nature is being at like these big public parks that they got, and they're in and around their cities. But I'm talking about like some real deep nature exposure outside of the cell phone range, getting disconnected like forcefully in a situation where, like, even if you start going through those internet withdrawals or cell phone signal withdrawals, you get that itch to text someone or to check something out or Google something, you are literally physically restrained. You're miles and miles away. You've got like a long distance or a long drive to go get it. Like, that's the kind of nature exposure that really kind of helps reset the mind, and especially in times of like low sunlight. I like going out in the woods with my friends, and some people drink, some people do other things, but like I personally I like to have campfire, and I like to cook a bit of food over the campfire and share it with others and listen to music, have a good time, right? Go to different places. We'll usually like make a triad of places, right, so it doesn't get stale. And we'll only visit a place so many times, and then we'll move on to the next area, and then we might revisit a place a couple times over the year. But it adds to experience, and it helps because it's mainly a winter thing. We don't really do it as much in the spring, summer, and fall, because like where I live, it's very boggy, it's very wet, saturated all the time, right? It's like in the summer, you're just gonna have a really rough time getting around to the spots that we walk through the woods when it's that season, right? Because in the winter, everything's frozen, the ground's frozen, it's great. And on top of that, the bugs, man. I'm telling you, the best thing about the winter and being out in the woods and exploring is the lack of bugs. Like, it's a godsend. It's such a great gift in exchange for the cold temperatures and the risk of dying every night. If you got pets, hanging out with them helps too, or if you got friends with pets, that's great. Getting a nice warm mug up, a warm cup of coffee or hot chocolate helps to soothe the soul, and some junk food every now and then. Look, all I'm saying is that in the winter, if you experience these things, right, it's like you got to treat yourself a little bit nicer, a little bit more leniently, because it's a rough time. It's like your body's having a natural time keeping up with the environment, and our bodies are not really built to be in these environments full time. totally, right? Like, it's just not really where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be in a more like warmer environment as human beings. We all prefer like a warmer climate than, you know, minus 20 in the winter, 60-kilometer-hour winds for like 70 days in a row. That's just not really where we want to be. So you get just be nice to yourself a little bit. Video games, they're a great distraction too. Reading books, it's a great way to kind of grow the mind and also to kind of escape a little bit. There's really so many ways that you can do it, and it's a very personal experience, although it's kind of stereotypical for all humans, right? Like, it's what works for me and you will be kind of different, right? It's like, I can guarantee you the movement will work, and guarantee you the vitamin D will work. I can't guarantee you that playing a video game is going to help you. I can't guarantee you that, you know, learning a skill is necessarily going to help you. It'll definitely distract you. But, you know, you got to explore a bit and just see what works. But that's kind of the advice I've got for you. So all the best with it.